soon as something go wrong, everybody want to say, what was the decision that made that go wrong? It's like, no, there was a few things that happened way before the obvious one, right? You think about the story of the guys who um, a DUI, right? They're on their driving drunk, get pulled over, get arrested, make the news because they got arrested for DUI. Everybody's like, man, why why did he drink and drive? It's like, well, there was a few things that happened before that. What was he doing in college? Because this ain't the first time he drunk and drive. Like, this wasn't his first time drinking and driving. Like, he's been doing this for a while. So those were micro decisions that he's used to doing. And in his mind, I'm never gonna get arrested. My house literally is right around the corner, right? And they've done that so many times that it didn't like a big deal. Or you offer money to an athlete, you offer money to this athlete, you offer money to this athlete, but you don't never check the budgets. You never check the spreadsheet. You never check what's left. You just offer it. And then you offer 10 and then 3 sign. Like, whew, made it good. But then you do it again. You offer 10, 6 sign. It's like, all right, we straight. But then you offer 10 and all 10 sign. And now you ain't got the money. They'll immediately say, well, who miscalculated the budget? Who didn't? Well, we didn't did this so many times. And my mentor says it's called a near miss. Like you didn't like almost got it, but it ain't happened. You almost got it, but it ain't happened. And then when it happens, it's catastrophic. And then somebody want to find what just happened as a reason why this is going on. I'm always looking at things like, nah, that ain't the first time that happened. So when I sit down and I look at an organization's decision making process on sessions, and I'll ask them what was the toughest situation that almost went left. You're gonna get like 4 different answers, but you're only getting 4 different answers because that's just how they operate. Oh well, we could have went wrong here. We actually could have went wrong here, and I started to say like, okay, so who's actually in charge of the decision making? Who's actually in charge of saying yes? Who's actually in charge of authorizing these things? Because there is no way y'all can keep functioning in this near miss environment, especially not in the rev share space, not in this economic sharing money with outside people, and you're promising things like the old days in recruiting, and you're saying, hey, we'll figure out on the back end. There's no more figuring it out on the back end, because on the back end it's already too late. Once you get an athlete into your system, and you were, you know, wild westing it off the hip and just saying whatever sounded good during the process, once they're in, you have to make good on that. Well, if you don't have it, you can't make good on it. So when I think about people and these headlines that have come out and all these things that have went wrong, I never just look at, oh yeah, this happened because of that. I'm like, nah, there was a few things that led up to that. Like, because nothing to me in my mind happens just because this one thing happens. There's always a path. There's always some breadcrumbs that you can go and find as to why this even took place. You look at like a lot of these athletes who get in trouble for speeding and, you know, reckless driving and stuff. Like, I don't think that was the first time they got a ticket for reckless driving. They probably got warnings after warnings after warnings, and then they got a ticket. So it wasn't like, oh, it's the first time they jumped in the car, they sped off, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, ticket. No, this was probably a few warnings, a few things that happened. Then you look at in the new rev share space, the post house. So many recruiters were used to just saying, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, we'll figure it out. I'll let you know. I say now that that language is a bunch of near misses because an 18-year-old hears if they ask you a question and you say, "Oh, I'll let you know," in their mind, that meant yes. And I think that used to work before money got involved. The we'll figure it out. We'll let you know. I got you. We'll get it done. We'll make it work. Those things used to work back then because there wasn't so much on the line. Now it's no longer, oh yeah, my bad, I blew the budget. Sorry, money. I thought we had it. That's no longer a response. So everything on the front end of we'll figure it out, we'll let you know, we'll try to get it done. All these half yeses, not really a no's, leads to that headline, and everybody want to know who messed up in the headline. But I'm like, there was a lot that happened well before we even got to the headline. And I do believe that if we don't hold accountable the front end, every headline becomes bigger and bigger. And so much so that the headlines get so big that they become to look like a near miss. So that when the real headline comes, it take your whole program down. And I think that's a not a fear, that's a big risk. That yes, you may have been short here and late here, or your collective went away, and you was able to make up for it back then. Small little things, but if you continue on that path, what happens is all of this becomes one big one, and there's no way you can survive from that. So, in short, as soon as you see the headline, ask yourself what happened way before that. How long has this been happening? Because it's not the headline. The headline is just the the, the final straw that says, "Hey y'all, they've been playing around. This. Here's the mistake." And sometimes it might be a little smack on the wrist, but you can't keep living in that space if you want to operate a true enterprise and be a professional. You can't just say, "Oh well, they'll figure it out," because eventually it tracks back to you. So you got to be good in your spot because it may happen 6 months down the line, and you say, "Well, that's on them." But if somebody comes and investigate that, it started with you. It's your fault.